I'm now going to make a brine and it's a brine without any salt, so it's technically not a brine. So my curing solution for the salmon that we're going to use for our raw salmon tomorrow. Whole purpose really is to try and take the water out. So we're going to take the water out by sugar concentration and alcohol concentration, both of which will attract the water out from the fish into the surrounding solution, preserving it, and also the higher strength flavours in the spirit will go into the fish simply because that's the way the gradient of concentration will flow. Really, really easy. A litre will make of this stuff, or I do it as a kilo, because it's much easier to weigh out than it is to measure volumes at different temperatures. I'm going to use 300 grams of sugar. I'm going to use Demerara sugar because I quite like it. So 300 grams of that. Lovely, smells great. It's rummy anyway. So I'm just getting there, roughly speaking. You don't need to be too precise about this. I try and keep it there because I like the flavour being pretty much the same.
Because you've got a scientific beaker, means that you probably should be.
Well, I'm a self-confessed nerd. And then we're going to use our spiced rum, which is gorgeous. I normally use about 200 grams of this. As you can see, there isn't 200 grams, probably 100 or so in there. So I'm going to top it up with old salt, which is one of its ancestors. Rum and salmon are just gorgeous. So 200 grams, nearly in. That's obviously more than, there we go, nearly there. So this makes it a litre. Or a bit more. There we go, 200 grams. And then I'm going to make up to a kilo with water. And that's going to be my water stripping brine curing agent, really. So really nice, colours are wonderful. Just going to take that up to, we had 200, we had 500, so we're getting another 500. There we go. Oh no, we had 200, we need another 300. So it's going to be 700 grams. Up it goes. And we're going to do a bit of stirring. Now you can put any flavours you like into your salmon. So again, do what you care, do what you love. I'm going to keep it really simple. I'm going to use some lime and I'm going to use that to partially submerge the salmon, which is a neat little trick. I'll tell you why I'm doing that in a mo. There we go, that's 700, so I've got a litre there. And spend a little bit of time here making sure the sugar's all dissolved. Because if it's all dissolved, you won't get patches on the fish if it's lying on a bed of sugar and you pull out more water in that region. You're going to get a better overall effect. So yeah, it's going to take 5 minutes. So while we're doing that, I'll tell you what else I like to add. I like to add some lime. I like to add some ginger, which we're also going to pickle to go as a side dish with it. And I like to add just any old chilies, really. Remember last time we were talking about chilies and CX and alcohol and how the heat of the chilies migrates into the alcohol. So that's what we're doing here.
Wow.
Quite nice, yeah?
Sure.
Just enough. We're not talking about over spicing it, because this is going to be a really delicate meal. We're going to have thin slices of hand-carved cured salmon, served with a nice quality soy sauce, some pickled ginger that we've pickled ourselves, and if you like wasabi, wasabi's great. You might prefer Dijon, whatever you like, something nice and bright. You might want to make your own chili chop to go with it. Chili and capers are quite nice. Go, you know, the bitterness and the spice works really well. So this just takes a few minutes, and then I'll show you our wickedly large amount of salmon, which costs us the next amount.
Thank you, Lidl.
Yeah, it's amazing. So while that's going on, just going to, that'll do me, just get a few of these it just shows you actually how good quality fresh ingredients are now entirely freely available for next to nothing in the UK and elsewhere, which is absolutely lovely. It means you can nip out and cook decent sized meals for whole family and friends, and you're going to do it for a fraction of something that you might eat out. So smell those. They've got they're mild, but they do have some peppery notes. So you get the pepper, but you also get the spice, which is really nice.
They are mild. Yeah, they do smell. Yeah. They've got a big note of bell pepper to them.
Yeah, exactly. So just quartering my limes, and then I'm just going to take a little bit of ginger. Okay. Not too much, just a bit. Because I don't want everything reeking with ginger, just want a nice bit of stuff to go with my limes. So sugar's nearly dissolved. It's just about finished there. I'll come back to that in a moment for what we're going to do. Lovely colours and flavours. Sugar's not quite gone, so we're just going to carry on. Give that another go. Okay, so if you want to know how to mix things and beat things, never go concentrically or go back and forth. It's figure of 8. Gives you the best mixing, okay? Because you create oceans of many vortexes. So just do a figure of 8 and you'll find that things dissolve a lot faster.
Yeah. I never knew that.
So figure of 8 gets you beating an egg, making a meringue, making some mayonnaise, hollandaise, whatever you like. Figure of 8 will get you everywhere you need to go pretty quickly. Okay. So let's just see where we are. While that's going on, into the fridge and grab our monster salmon. This is ridiculous. That was £5.50, which if you're watching this in 10 years' time, you'll be able to buy a house for, because it'd be worth about 9 million quid. Look at that. That's going to sort of fall for lunch comfortably, and a generous lunch, So pre-prep with this is really easy. Get open, pat it dry. That's it really. These are so well prepared, all the pin bones are removed. It's quite extraordinary, it really is. Of course you could go to your fishmonger and get a great fresh salmon yourself. And we're in lockdown at the moment, so that's not really an option. So these are really good alternatives to that. Just going to lay it down and I'm going to pat it dry. Salmon naturally has so much fat on it that we're going to get those oils off to assist with the penetration of our brine, being able to pull things out. So just dampen it down. That's a gorgeous bit of fish. Look at that. Absolutely lovely. Yeah, actually haven't said that. It's all done. That's quite excellent. So that's kind of what we've got, which is rather lovely. Just keeping an eye on my never dissolving sugar. Why is the sugar taking so long? I'll tell you why. Large particle size and alcohol does not assist. In the distillery, when we're doing liqueurs, for all those people making liqueurs at home, use caster sugar. It's faster. If you haven't got caster sugar, put it in a food processor and grind up your granulated sugar. Caster sugar. And then my favourite £1 purchase is one of these boxes, which is ridiculous. This is my ultimate go-to salmon box, which is lovely. Look at that. That's perfect.
This is a salmon box.
This is my salmon box. It's I'm sure it's got better uses than just that, but nonetheless, I think we're pretty much there now. I'm quite happy with that. Look at that colour, glorious. So you can marinate, I'd always say overnight. So, you know, prep 16 hours, pretty good to go. If you're in a rush, 8 hours might do it. 48 spectacular if you've got the time on your hands to get a really, really good result. I wouldn't leave it longer unless you want to change the brine, because what you're doing is making the brine less efficient because you've brought all the water out of the salmon, so you're not going to get such a good result.
Would it be a detriment to the salmon and the flavour if it was in for longer?
You know, you're always fighting microbiology. So they're flesh side down, and then we're just going to add this over the top, and it will float. Okay, so it will float because we've got, it's all muscle, but we've got quite high sugar content here. You can see our litre is pretty much spot on. Okay, now that's rather nice. So, and it really is as simple as laying your other stuff, your peppers, in like this. This just looks lovely. Okay, tuck them in like so. And this is great for presentation anyway. And then you can see it's floating. So what you want to do is make sure that all the edges are beneath. In this case, we're quite fortunate, but I don't particularly want the skin to dry out in any possible way, even though I'm going to put a lid on it, because it might cause curvature and bits to stick up. So these are the best little ballast devices known to fish. Yeah, look at that. This is going to take them just ever so slightly below the surface, but it's not going to put them on the bottom. That one's got a bigger surface area, so I'm going to put the heavier piece at the bottom. There we go. Just going to rearrange those to get all of my fish just under the surface. I don't want it on the bottom, because if it's resting on the bottom, you're not going to be able to penetrate the fish with the liquid.
Sure.
Yeah? Simple as that.
And would you squeeze any citrus into the solution? What would acid do to it?
Acid, we're not pickling it, we're curing it. So what we want to do, we can have acid afterwards, because that'll start the proteins to denature and change the shape of molecularly the product. So we're going to use that afterwards to provide taste changes and texture changes.
Sure.
So we want something that's going to be super delicate, gentle, like a really refined Turkish delight. And that's what we're after in here, yeah? And then the acidity afterwards. Now, Peruvian dishes, the Peruvians cook raw fish, cook it in inverted commas, no heat, by using large amounts of lime juice to denature the protein and therefore preserve it. So that's a very common dish in South America. Right, okay. And lovely, worth trying. It's a really unusual taste.
Is that what ceviche is?
Yes, exactly. Variations of that, yeah.
Okay.
So really nice. Good fun. So on it goes, put your lid on. If you don't have one of these, you don't have to have one. In your dish, and then put some tin foil on it. Why am I concerned about putting a lid on it? I'm not concerned for any other reason than the fact that if I didn't, I'd spill it everywhere. All right, so, and then I'm just going to put it in the fridge. And we're going to time travel into tomorrow for lunch. And
we're back. Hello, John.
24 hours later, and it took 24 hours. So we've got our wonderful salmon, cider salmon. We've been marinating in our spiced rum, saltless brine. Doesn't that look gorgeous? All these beautiful bits and bobs. Remember our little limes used for weighing things down. So this is now ready to scoff, which is great.
God, that smells amazing.
It does smell good. So we're going to simply whip it out and pat it dry. So this is very slippery. So be careful and just whip it out. Drain off the excess. There we go, colours are gorgeous. You can see it's more translucent. So that pinkness that you associate with salmon when it's chilled and non-treated has gone to very much like a chunk of smoked salmon, but we haven't smoked it. And it's gone translucent because we removed the vast amount of water associated with it. So just patting it dry. If If you keep it dry in the fridge, you'll get a good 7 days out of this, actually.
Wow.
So this is a large, significant piece of salmon. Just move this out of the way, and then we'll plate up and have a look. So this is great stuff. I mean, this is really, really fun kind of sushi. So there's no grace here. You're just going to cut it how you'd like to eat it. I tend to cut it reasonably, slightly thicker than smoked salmon. The secret with cutting fish with a knife is that whenever you're filleting, always wipe the knife between cuts, because otherwise all the fat collates and you end up with getting it more and more difficult to slice. So we're just going to slice a piece. Yeah. There you go. And the smell of this is absolutely to die for. Okay. Look at that. It's like smoked salmon.
God, it looks exactly like smoked salmon.
So, here we go. Gorgeous pieces there. And that is lovely. Just going to make this easier to scoff. Cutting a few pieces in this direction. And what we've got here, the dips that I like, and this is entirely down to you and what you prefer. Standard soy sauce, really nice, light, dark, whatever you prefer. Out of a tube, wasabi. You can do a much better version of this. You can use horseradish if you like, or even a Dijon mustard. Here I've just pickled some ginger slices, which I did this morning in a hot pickle, which is 2 parts water, 1 part vinegar, 1 part sugar by weight. All I'm going to do is boil it up till it starts to boil, and pour it over my bits. And you can see here, for example, there's a broader range of pickles I did with the same stuff. And then I couldn't fit them in a jar, so I put the excess in here, where I've used these wonderful red spring onions and a little bit of chili. And they've literally, as soon as that goes in and it's cool, they're ready to eat. And that's what we've got here. So here we go, got this lovely, easy way to eat it. I shall have a go, James. It'd be good to have your input on that.
I'm just going to go straight for the fingers. God, that smells amazing.
It's a great taste.
Spiced rum notes, but yeah, still with enough of the fish, but just. That is absolutely sublime.
It's lovely, isn't it? It's just it's gorgeous.
It's amazing how much the fish picks up the cherry and hibiscus notes.
Yes, very much so.
As well as a little bit of the raisin sweetness of the rum as well. And that texture is amazing.
Texture's gorgeous.
God, that is so meaty. Yeah, it's.
So.
God.
This would be ridiculous. Look at this. Sushi without the rice. So, dip as you care. Smear as you care. Probably enough to kill a cat, actually. Anybody who likes Deliveroo, where we're out at the moment at Treguddick, there isn't any Deliveroo service. So if you're thinking of sushi tonight and you live in this area, best make some for yourself. And it's just gorgeous. It's as good as any sushi you get anywhere. And we made this for next to nothing. One day in the fridge, some great rum, everything else freely available. Gotta give it a go.
Gosh, maybe I'll go for
It's lovely.
that. Just a little bit of this. And I'll go for half of that as well. Cool.
Fun. It's a great way to eat salmon. Truly marvellous.
You don't need rice with that at all.
No, you don't. No, you've got all the flavours.
Mm.
You know, you could, to make this a little bit more authentic, you do your pickles in a rice wine vinegar.
Sure.
You know, and all I've used here actually is a bog standard distilled vinegar, had no taste, totally neutral. Or you could go white wine, or you could go sherry, you know, mix it, any kind of notes, spice it any way you want to spice it. But, I mean, the result is delicious, really.
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, if you wanted to, again, go even more authentic and get the nori seaweed and,
Exactly.
and the rice,
Absolutely.
and you could dial it up with any other number of vegetables than you could do,
Yeah.
and that would not be lost at all. But just to eat it like this,
I mean, you know, any way you care, and lovely. So, oopsie. I must say, well, that chili rocks.
better you than me.
Chomp, chomp, chomp. Woohoo! This is a fry. There goes my palate for about a month. I've just licked magma. Crumbs. All good.
Now, any other questions I can think of? Could you do this in anything other than salmon? Or is it just salmon?
Interesting. You'd want a fatty fish. Could probably do it in mackerel, fresh mackerel.
Wow, okay.
Interesting. Because it's gorgeous. Fucking hell, that's hot.
If you're going to do something with a flavour like mackerel, what spirit would you use?
Oh, it's so light, isn't it, mackerel? I'd probably use cucumber spirit for that.
Oh.
Yeah, just to make it really airy and
Sure.
light. Very Moorish, this though. Thank God James is taking the rest.
Poor me. Well, this has been yet another truly enlightening episode of how you can make really nice food when you don't have access to Deliveroo and get some spirits in it to boot. So, thank you very much, John.
A pleasure.
I will enjoy tucking into this, and thank you all for joining us. And yeah, have a go and let us know what you think.